let's talk about Pluto in Aquarius and what was happening last time in more detail, in more depth, what was happening last time during Pluto in Aquarius in the United States as well as Europe. It's a very important time in history because we are repeating history. I'm a historian. I have political science degree. I mean, I'm about to get it because I'm preparing for my exam. I know astrology. I know astronomy. I'm just a very curious kid. I'm an internet kid. So let me just tell you everything in order. So last time we had Pluto in Aquarius, we had civil war due to taxes. Please understand the Tea Party, Boston Tea Party is very important. It's the same damn deal ever since then actually happening, okay? So during the first 13 years, America did not have a central government system, okay? During the first 13 years, America was practicing the Confederation flag, right? Confederation states, Confederate states, the first 13 years, right? And that's where actually we get Friday 13th, Jason. That's just a connection to the media and journalism and everything. Not that I'm a journalist, but I'm just very curious about things and I actually study this. So imagine for the first 13 years, there is literally no constitution. There's only confederation, and confederation did not work out. And due to that, a lot of people have immigrated to Brazil at that time, if you really look at the history, right? Then due to confederation, right, you took money, you loaned money from France and you couldn't pay it off. And Britain at that time uses this opportunity economically, comes through the port of entry, right? Comes through the sea, through the ocean, and give you tea to sell tea so that you can pay off for the France loan, okay? The loan that you owe to France to begin with. And mind you, at that time, there was no central government, meaning there was no federal government in Washington existing at that time that would have collected taxes from each state, right, during the Confederation years. So everyone was selfish. Every single state was selfish during the Confederation. That's why there was nobody to collect taxes from. Hence why America, the United States, wasn't able to pay off the loan to France, okay? So then going back to the Boston Tea Party, Britain is sending out tea so that culturalize you just the same way that they are, so that you drink tea. What did your people, the farmers, do? The people who, the Civil War happened, they threw away the tea because they knew that that was another control from the British king. Because the British king, under the British king, American people, the reason why, I mean, not American people, but European immigrants at a time, the reason why they ran away, they came to America to create their own country based on freedom, based on liberty, based on pursuit of happiness. Okay, please understand the Declaration of Independence. They came here because the king in Britain wasn't giving them immigration, but was imposing taxes at the same time. How can you not give residency, citizenship, and how can you be imposing taxes? That was very unfair. Those immigrants thought they needed to go somewhere else, and that's why they came here. So imagine for the first 13 years, there's no central government, nobody is chipping in, nobody, like, where are you going to get money to pay off from if you don't have a taxation system, a central government? Or rather, these Confederate states, they were super selfish, okay? So that's what led us to that civil war, please understand. Then Britain uses that economical opportunity, comes here in order to sell you tea. You completely rejected because people knew that they wanted to culturalize America into drinking tea. And that's why you guys are not drinking tea here. You're drinking soda for a reason. That was kind of rebellious move from Americans, from founding fathers against British. So at that time, we see the Statue of Liberty, which I don't like. They're sending out the Statue of Liberty. My assumption and what my intuition is telling me that you guys are still paying France, Paris debt, okay? And you have a close link between Paris and you and the entire world through the British king still. I'm telling you this because how the fuck is he sending tea? How the fuck they still want to control you through economy? Because that is the main reason. Because if he really cared about you, he would have given you citizenship. He would have given you residency when you were back there. You didn't run away from there for no reason. But then from that time, you are still paying off that debt. Do you understand? That's what created the central government system. And that's where corruption started to happen, meaning that you still didn't pay off your debt to France. And that's why these things are happening. It's closely linked up to prostitution. And I will name this because I am coming from a region where we know this very well. And it's closely linked up to, you know what I mean, okay? So ever since we see Paris becomes the very first capital to fashion, and they spread the materialism to Russia first, and that's how Soviet Union got over materialized since day one, since its 20s. Over sexualization of women starts. Women start to wear less and less clothes at the same time. Great Depression happens while, Hedy Lamarr is entertaining men while still working, for politicians and doing the work on the Wi-Fi level. Let's not forget, because I'm a real feminist, but whatever happened later to feminist movement, I don't fucking know. I'm sorry, I gotta call out white people joining in later on protest movements that they haven't started. Like, for instance, Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King had to go to prison, and then he realized that he had a dream, and he got out and he built a support system. He talked to his people, because he heard the majority, the problem of the majority within his community. So he wanted to represent his community. What did they do? They do redlining. It's called Section 8, when you gerrymander the districts, right? And putting them in the communities, and then destabilizing communities, not giving them proper equal economical prosperity or opportunities, right? And yet offering them all these social programs, but only to those communities that they redistricted, so that you only stay in Section 8. Oakland, Compton in California, here, Brooklyn. However, with the technological war, like what people are missing out on, coming back to this day, right? Ever since the 50s, JFK has been competing with the Soviet Union, with Stalin, okay? On Sputnik, on the space, right? We have Yuri Gagarin on the April 12th. We have the Day of the Astronaut. You don't even know what that is, right? Because ever since the Cold War started on the basis of the space competition over space, because in space we have jurisdiction, but we are not aware. We cannot communicate with them. Maybe they know where they cannot cross the line, and they're still doing it because, there's a jurisdiction in the space. There's jurisdiction in the sea. There's certain sea level territory. This is international law. You cannot, for instance, send out the boat with whatever you're exporting, importing, you know what I mean? You cannot pass certain levels of sea territories because there is a law, jurisdiction associated with a particular country. And these people, especially you guys, are sleeping distracted with porn hubs and whatever, and they're just keep doing stuff. And then you think, oh my God, why did it go to hell? Because you're not checking people out. You're not observing the observer who observes you. You're being observed. You're being photographed in space. That is the truth. Lyndon B. Johnson set up the shuttle Mir program. Do you guys even read? It's just such a shame. And then they ask me or talk about Three-Eye Atlas. Oh, spaceship, of course. I've never told nobody what I saw because I didn't want stigma. I didn't want to be on camera. I didn't want to be on TV so that they could discredit us and then they could scare us off just like they did in the 90s. I'm a 1994 kid. Life path 4. I fucking know what I'm talking about. You gotta abide by the law and order no matter what dimension you're in. Just because you're in space, it doesn't mean. So let me tell y'all, it's another revolution happening. And another, just watch the news, observe the things that are going on. People is tired of this corruption, okay? Just because you're unaware what's going on in the space don't mean that they ain't got laws there that you don't have to abide.